Today we'll be doing a restorative session that involves inversions. So whenever we can focus on the breath and quiet the breath down, elongate, we can go more within, withdraw from our senses. So today we'll use a chair. We'll use the chair twice. Here I have a green mat on the chair. I have a bolster in front of it. Underneath the green mat, I have 2 folded blankets. So the purpose of those folded blankets is to give me a little bit of length through the trunk. If you have a short trunk, that won't be required, but if you have a very long trunk, maybe even a little bit higher, so that your shoulders are here and your hips are here. Okay, so I've decided for myself, I'll take 2 blankets, and I'm putting the mat over it so that I don't slide. Okay. Also today we'll have 2 blocks and a couple more blankets and maybe 1 more bolster. Before we start our practice, I wanted to let you know about my online programs and workshops. Whether you're new to Iyengar yoga and want to learn the basics in a systematic way, a seasoned practitioner looking to revisit the essentials, or a yoga teacher seeking inspiration. These programs and workshops are self-paced, allowing you to make consistent progress and revisit specific topics whenever you like. You can find the link in the description below. With that said, let's begin our practice today. Should be able to get by with 1 bolster, but 2 if you are just starting. Okay, so coming onto the chair, you're sitting sideways on the chair. I have my feet here toward the wall, and then I'm going to bring the legs over. And as I bring the legs over, I'm hooking my calves on the end of the chair. And then from there, I'll be bringing my hips in a little bit further. So tucking the pelvis, turning the hips in. So I'm fully weighted on the chair toward the back end. I'm holding with the calves, and then I'll bring my hands down onto the chair legs until I can feel that bolster on the elbow or the forearm. From there, I'm going to take 1 foot to the back of the chair and keep pressing the back of the chair. Help me slide down a bit. I don't want to go too far. And before I go too far, I'm going to catch hold of the back legs. Now, I'm not going from the outside. I'm going from the inside. So if you have tight shoulders or you're very broad, see if you can get that rotation of the arms under, and then take the hands inside the chair. If not, then you need to be holding from the outside. But I think you should be able to bring the arms in, depending on the width of your chair and the stiffness of your shoulders. Okay, so with both feet on the chair, I'm still pressing both feet down to keep that weight there. And now I'm sliding down a little bit more. As I slide down, I'm coming down more onto the bone of the pelvis. So I don't want to be on the lower back, which is up here, but I'm on the bone, which is right in line with that pelvic bone in the front. Okay? Lengthening the back of the head, so I'm on the back of the head and not on the crown of the head. Shoulders are moving down. Lift the chest, roll the shoulders under. And then you can straighten the legs. Extend the legs behind you. Keep reaching with your heels and lengthen the calf toward the heel. Legs are firm. Thighs moving down. And as you move the thighs down, you have the hips there that are maintaining that levelness of the pelvis. Lift your chest. Roll your shoulders under more. And just be there. So you want to hold the back of the chair. If you've just got your fingers around it, that's fine. But see if you can hold firmly so that from your shoulders, you're lengthening to your hands. If you have a full grip, that's even better. Or if you've slid out, then you just hold with your fingers. And then we're going to stay there. And with that inverted position, you're able to give a little bit of rest to the heart, especially the heart, which has to pump the blood up to the head. It goes up through the glands, the glands in the throat, and then finally up into the head. Helps you create some space through the chest. Oftentimes you're going to find yourself kind of stumped over maybe a device, or you're doing some sort of work, and you find that your posture is not in such a way that the breath is fully able to release. So here the organs in the abdominal area are suspended, so they're not being crushed, or you're not caving in on them. There's some space there around the front of the abdominal area. So the abdominal area is housing your organs, reproductive organs, the digestive organs, organs of elimination, everything that's the main area of the body that's working besides the brain is here, able to get a little bit of a rest. When you're suspended like this, you're creating space around the organic body, enabling the breath to move into those spaces. And with that breath, you have oxygen. Be with the breath. Allow the breath to be soft and slow. In our regular practice, we often do headstand or shoulder stand without the chair. Here we're using the chair to help you be in a shoulder stand for a little bit longer at a more quiet and relaxed posture. After this, we'll be going into Halasana, and we'll also use the chair. So depending on your situation and how you're feeling, this brings a lot of rest to the organic body, and also it helps to relax the mental body. The breath is able to move freely, and there's a release of tension. In this position, your shoulders are down, your chest is lifted, your throat is soft. So you're coming into that position we call Jalandhara Bandha, which we often do with our pranayama, which is a lock. There's a lock there at the throat, which prevents the energy from moving too much into the head when you're doing a lot of breath work. Stay with your breath. And now you'll bend your knees and bring your feet onto the back of the chair. You're going to come into Baddha Konasana. So the edges of the feet, the outer edges of the feet are on the chair rail. It gives you a little bit of a rest in case you're keeping the legs up was becoming tiresome. So here in all of these postures that we'll do today, you want to release from tension and find out how you can do that. Here there's a nice opening in the shoulders. So that's lift of the chest, the rotation of the arms, and the upper back, the dorsal spine moving into the body, shoulder blades moving down, helps to create that length also for your neck. Here the back of the head is lengthening away from your shoulders, and the neck is completely supported. And now bring both feet back onto the chair. We're going to bring the legs straight up, Viparita Karani. So you extend the legs up. Don't bring them over the head, but keep them so that when you lift the leg, you can see the heel is lined up over the hip. And then keep reaching up with both heels. Connect the toes. You see your toes here, so spread the toes. Broaden the foot. So bring your foot into the position that would be in Tadasana if you were standing on the floor. So first, extend the heel up, inner ankles touching, inner balls of the feet touching, big toes touching. Spread the toes. And with that lift of the heel, lift the calf upward. Front thigh moving back behind you. Outer hips descending. Lift up through the inner ankle. Inner heel. Keep that length, that lift, and then press up through the mounds of the toes, stretching the front of the foot up toward the ceiling more, but maintain that lift through the back of the leg. And just be there. Be there with your breath. Aware of your shoulders, shoulders moving downward. Pelvis resting on the chair. Abdomen quiet. Feel the breath there in the abdomen. So this is a really great pose to help you to relax any stress. If you've been at the computer a lot, any strain in the neck. It just enables you to come back to the breath. All right, we're going to prepare to come down now, so take your hands out from underneath the chair. Bring the hands, both the left and the right, onto the chair rail, the front chair rail. Bend your knees, and bring your feet back onto that rail behind you. And then this time, before you rolled your shoulders under, now you're going to lift your shoulders up. So you're rounding the back, slide down, bring your feet down onto the chair, and slide your hips onto that bolster. Just cross your legs. Come back to the breath. Feel the back body supported, so you're completely on the bolster and on the floor. Arms are relaxed. And your feet are still on the chair. Take another few breaths there. When you come up, we're going to move into Halasana. So we'll have a chair behind us this time. And we'll lift up and bring the thighs onto the chair. And now bring your feet onto the chair, roll onto your right side, and slowly press yourself up. Coming up carefully, slowly. All right, now I'm going to have another bolster here. So as I take that bolster behind, I'm going to use the bolster again to have my shoulders on. These are pretty firm bolsters. So using that to have my shoulders on, my head will be on the blanket. And once I go onto the bolsters, I'm going to move this chair in further. So I have part of the mat on the chair on the mat and part not. So I'll just lift up and I'll be able to slide the chair in. So the head will be here, the shoulders will be here, and that way, when I bring the chair in, I can rest the thighs completely on that chair. Okay, I'll start back a little bit to start out with, and then using this bolster to give you a lift to bring already your legs in a position where the hips are a little bit higher, so you don't have to struggle to come up. You can also do it without this other bolster, but if you want to have a little bit extra support there, have that bolster there. Have the chair right behind you. Okay, and then you're going to press your hands down and lift the legs up. So when you press and lift, just try a few times, press and lift, and then finally bring your legs over onto the chair. So I'm walking the knees in, walking the thighs in. Now this is why I also have some support on the chair, because I want my whole back body and front body, sides of the trunk, to be lifted. So I want to have that space from the armpit area and the shoulders to be able to lift the hips up away from the floor. So now I'm going to bring the chair in a bit and then walk the thighs in. And just like in shoulder stand with the bolster, rotating those shoulders under. Back of the head is lengthening. My neck is supported. And then I can just release the arms. Now, if I didn't have this height here, I would be a little bit lower and the back would be rounding. And after a while, that would be uncomfortable. So I think it's always better to have a little bit of height. You might have to play around with that height and see exactly how much you need. You can also, instead of taking your feet through the chair, you can just bring your thighs onto the chair and rest your feet that way. Okay, so finding a position. You could also use a bolster. Bolster is a little bit more, it takes a little bit more finagling because of the shape of the bolster. So here, with the blankets all the same dimension, I can just relax the thighs. So in shoulder stand, usually we're holding our back, we're in Halasana, and then we bring the legs up. Here you're in Halasana with the legs completely supported. So you're suspended. Your hips are suspended in air, supported by that chair. Your back, whole spinal column is suspended. And your chin and your chest are drawing towards one another, Jalandhara Bandha. So that gives some softness to the throat, and it brings much more relaxation. Breath becomes relaxed. Your senses begin to move within. So doing these postures with closed eyes, let the facial muscles relax, especially the jaw. Skin is relaxing on the face. If you have any tightness in the lower back, this gives you a little bit of traction. If you have any kind of cervical neck issues, make sure that you have some support. You might have to have more than this. So depending on your practice and the condition of your body, you'll need to take the support that will give you the most height, so that from the shoulders to the back of the head, you're also getting that space. If at any point it doesn't feel comfortable, you come down. You can either adjust your props to give yourself some more height, or come out completely and just rest, sliding your head and neck and your shoulders off the platform so the whole upper back, chest is on the floor. So don't stay in an uncomfortable position. You need to make sure you're getting into the right position. And then once you are, bring your attention back to your breath.
All right, we're going to come out now, so slowly take your hands onto the front chair legs, and then one at a time start to take the legs out from through the chair. Press your hands down, press into the bolster, and use your hands to counter your balance. Right, you can take the chair away a little bit further. You can come down both ways, but taking the chair away, you can start to slide your legs out a little bit easier. Take your hands down, and then slowly come down. Lift the chin as you move your hips down, and then bring your feet onto the floor, and then take your chair away. Slide off the chair. Bring your head, your neck, your shoulders, your back ribs onto that blanket behind you. And now change the cross on your legs. So before I had you cross your legs in when you came out of shoulder stand with the bolster. Now change the cross to the other side. Let your arms rest. Come back to the breath. Slide your chair away. Bend your knees. And then come off that bolster. Gently come up. And now we'll go into Setu Bandha. We'll start with 2 blocks here for the feet, but bring the feet onto the floor. And then we'll take this other block, and you're going to press the feet down, and then you'll lift the hips up and take this block right under the tailbone. So this narrow edge will be going right on the tailbone. And depending on if that's comfortable or not, if you have any kind of lower back kind of imbalance, you could also bring it horizontal. So both sides of the sacrum would be on that block. So I'll show you that first as a preparation to go into the higher block. So press the feet down, lift up, take the block underneath. So it's right on the bone of the sacrum. Roll your shoulders under. Eventually you're going to extend the legs out. So these blocks are a little bit close. So I'm going to press the block away and press this block away. And then you can extend the legs. Thighs moving down, toes are moving up. Just move it back a little bit. Okay, with both legs straight, descending your thighs, get that rotation of your shoulders. So you can hold on to the sides of your mat, roll the shoulders under, and you can be there. So you can either be there on that block or walk your feet in, be onto your toes, and you want to lift up. You want to lift the backs of the thighs, you want to lift the hips, and come up as high as you can, and then see if you can take that block just right underneath the tailbone. Take your hands beyond the block, extend the arms, rotate the shoulders under, and then walk the feet out. So you can either be in this position with the knees bent, feet on the floor. Just while you're there, balance yourself between the left shoulder and the right shoulder using the feet. And then if you feel balanced, then extend the legs, extend the heels, thighs moving down, maintaining the movement of the shoulders down toward the floor, thighs descending, straightening the knees, and then finally you can let go of the hands. You've got that rotation, and use your arms just to maintain that balance. If you're on that block a little bit to the left or to the right, you might be listing a bit. You can either come down and adjust yourself or use one of the arms to Give you a little bit more balance toward the median line. So we have the left side and the right side of the body. We have 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils. So from the center of the body, from the crown of the head moving straight down, we want to move toward that center. So the outer thighs, outer hips, outer shoulders, lift the back ribs. Stay with your breath. If at any point that's getting to be too much on your back, or you just want to be in a more relaxed position, bend your knees, bring your feet onto the floor. We'll stay just another few breaths here. Keep extending the heels, press into the mounds of the toes. So here, again, you're getting that frontal body length, that anterior spine, your posterior spine, the back of the spinal column and the back body is moving up toward the chest, which gives the opening of the chest. The more you can have that awareness in the back body and that sensitivity, the more you can open through the chest area, the heart, lengthen the front area, as I explained earlier. All right, and then bend the knees. Bring the feet back onto the floor. So find the weight on the front of the foot and the heel. Keep the thighs parallel, so you don't want the knees moving out. So bring the feet closer, press into the mounds of the toes, inner heels. And then as you press the feet down, lift the backs of the thighs up. And then you're going to bring the toes in. And you lift up. You'll lift from the thighs, you'll lift from the outer hips, you'll lift from the middle portion of the buttocks. And then as you lift up, take that block away. And I want you to turn the block onto its lowest height and just let that verticality balance out the left and the right side of the sacrum. Continue with your knees bent, and then straighten the legs. You can push the blocks to the side. Thighs are descending, chest is lifting. Stay with your breath. And now bend your knees. You're going to lift up, take the block away, and then come back onto the hips. As the final posture, we're going to have some support for the back so that we can just observe the breath a little bit more. So you bend to the right side and press yourself up. Okay, I have 2 blankets here. So I'm opening the blankets to the wide and then rolling the blanket back. So I came back 1/3 and 1/3. Okay, and then this blanket will be used for the head. You're going to fold the blanket in half and in half. So this one, you're going to take and move it toward the end of your mat, just a little bit off the mat, and then use this blanket for the head. Sometimes in preparing for pranayama, we'll use blankets like this, maybe a little bit higher. But here, I just still want you to have a little bit of lift to the chest, and then having this blanket right up to your shoulders. First, adjust the pelvis, lengthening the lower back. And this blanket can be right near the back rib cage. Okay? And then you're going to extend the legs out. Roll the inner thighs out. Bring your arms to your side. And with that, rotate the arms down toward the floor. So you can feel that armpit chest. So you can reach back and take this flesh and the shoulder blade and move it down. And then start with the arms again. Rotate the arms. And then finally, bring the elbows, the arms, the lower arm in line with the elbow, and just release. Look down at yourself. Just make sure you're in the center. And then let go of the breath. And we'll take a few longer inhalations and exhalations. So just first come to a normal breath. And then begin to observe the length of your breath, the length of your inhalation and your exhalation. I'm going to have you lengthen both the inhalation and the exhalation, just by a count of 2. So first finding the length of that inhalation, that length of the exhalation, just by being aware. Continue to follow your breath, allowing the breath to release completely. And now, taking the count of your exhalation, I'd like you to extend your exhalation by a count of 2. So to begin with, just inhale, and then exhale completely. Take another inhalation. And then exhaling this breath longer by that count, extending your exhalation by a count of 2. Exhaling slowly, softly. At the end of that exhalation, take a normal breath and just come back into a normal, balanced breath by taking a few breaths. If it takes 2 or 3, not being in a hurry. And then after your next exhalation, inhale. And then soft, slow, smooth exhalation. Extend your exhalation. At the end of your exhalation, taking those 2 or 3 normal breaths. After your next exhalation, again, inhaling. Aware of that top of your inhalation, and then from there, slowly exhaling, elongating. Normal breath. After your next exhalation, one last inhalation. filling the lungs. And then slight holding of that breath. Exhaling. So you elongate. You don't just drop the chest or release the breath quickly, but you release it slowly from the top down toward the bottom. Normal breath. Release the breath completely. And then come back to a normal breath. Just stay here. I'll sound the timer. Just allow yourself to be in this heightened quietness, this withdrawal of the senses. Namaste.